Welcome once again to the Damon Floyd Coach Show here on Talk 101.3 The Buzz, where all of our coach shows are brought to you by Ownbey Appliance on Durkee Road. We appreciate Josh Taylor and the gang down there taking care of our appliances. If you have a need for a new one or used one or service, please see Ownbey Appliance on Durkee Road. Well, Coach, our old nemesis, Maryville, came in here Friday night, a big region game. Had a lot on the line for both teams, and obviously they pulled it out there. We played a really solid, good first half. We played, it was 13-10, I believe, going to halftime with the ball coming out in the second half. So to speak, the wheels fell off, but things happen in games, and it just starts snowballing, sometimes going downhill. But what are your thoughts about the first half? I mean, we talked to you at halftime. We didn't talk to you after the game, and probably a good thing we didn't talk to you. I mean,
yeah, it was obviously a good first half. I mean, you had a chance to beat a really good team, you know, and we played really well. And like you said, the second half, man, the wheels came off, and you know, I've got to do a better job of not losing my composure, because I lost my composure to some things that happened that were very frustrating, and probably the team reacted to my antics, I guess, on the sidelines. But I'll say this: I'm not going to lay down, and our team's not going to lay down, and if they want somebody that's just going to take things on the sidelines and not say anything, I'm not that guy.
We don't want you there.
Yeah, I'm going to fight for everything I got, and I'm going to fight for my kids. And I just felt like it was a very frustrating game in the second half. If you were at the game, you probably saw it, and you probably can assume whatever or think whatever you want to think. I mean, I don't really know how to say it other than it was just a frustrating loss. But I thought for the most part our kids are fighting. Mm-hmm. Look, they had some guys that are in some positions where they had an advantage on us size-wise, and in the second half I thought it took its toll, but I thought our kids continued to fight, and you know, it is what it is. We didn't control what we could control, and you get beat by a bad score when you play a team like that.
Well, you mentioned the size of their line. Man, that's a college-sized line. Earl and I were looking at the lineups before the game started, and kept reading off these heights and these weights, and it does, like you say, it takes a toll, because we are way undersized in some positions there, and you know, physically, it's just a demand that sometimes the bigger guy, stronger guy.
Yeah, in the end, it's reality.
Yeah,
it's reality. But you know, and our guys continue to fight. Mm-hmm. But you know, I can't go fight Mike Tyson. Like, I'm gonna get whipped at some point. Yeah. So I may fight as hard as I want, but it is what it is. You know, so they did have an advantage on us size-wise, and it took its toll. But I still think we could have done some things to make the game a little closer in the end and have a chance. And, you know, the bottom line is, if you miss your gap on defense, and those gaps got bigger and bigger. Yeah. And then you miss a tackle, that's what happens. And then offensively, you know, we quit moving the chains because we were behind the sticks a lot because of penalties. And that was frustrating. I felt like, you know, about 5 minutes to go in the third quarter, it's 4th and 1. We run the ball, get on their side of the field. And we got momentum. It's 20-13. If we go down there and get a score, we got a chance to have a chance in the end. And we had a penalty that was pretty crucial, and ended up having to punt. And you know, that's where it snowballed. Well,
let's talk about penalties, man. There, holding calls. You could literally call holding every play.
You can. Sure can.
Sometimes I think the referees get flag happy. I don't know why. I think sometimes they feel like, well, we're getting paid to throw flags, I guess we better throw one, you know. Seems like. The illegal procedure penalties, I think we had 9, if the count is correct there, a couple of holding penalties, and it's just the one that killed us, though, I thought was that 4th. It was 4th and short. It wasn't even hardly a yard, I believe. Jalen rips off 13 yards, and all of a sudden you look back, and here's a flag back here, bring it back, and we have to give up the ball. But that, to me, if there's a key play in the game, I guess to me that would be a key play there. But penalties are something that you deal with, but it seems like that we just get overwhelmed sometimes when the opponent's not doing the same thing. I don't want to put you in a bad spot here, but you know, they're not doing the same. They're doing the same thing we are, but we seem to get a call for it every time, I guess.
You know, if you're a Bradley guy, if you're pulling for Bradley, you see it one way. Obviously, if you're pulling for the other team, you're going to see it a certain way. But we had 11 penalties. We had 2 holding. One of them I thought was, I mean, you could have called it. Yeah. And then the 4th and 1 I was frustrated with, didn't agree with the call. And I think if you're getting whipped and you're getting drive down the field 15 yards, I don't think it's a hold. And then the other 9 penalties were false starts. And we've not had that problem all year. We've not really had that problem since I've been here. Do we ever jump off sides and have? Yes. Yeah. But 9 times, week 10, 6A football team, something to that.
Yeah.
And I think their defense had something to do with that as well. But so that was frustrating, and it's frustrating.
Well, and let's talk about offense for us. Alex Walker, first half was just dead on. He was firing some bullets in there, and the guys were catching them. He threw some away, but it looked like it's by design because he was not going to throw it where it could be intercepted or anything. And it, as you say, we had a close first half there. He had 25 completions out of 41 attempts for a touchdown, 260 yards. That's a pretty good game,
Yeah, Alex, he did well that first half. Man, he was on fire, and they do a lot of things where they start with 2 high safeties and then pre-snap, and then post-snap they move, and they move in a variety of ways. And Alex was able to pick up the times he threw it away. And it's hard. Don't get me wrong.
Yep.
He threw it away because he didn't want to make a crucial mistake, and that's what we stressed to him. You just can't turn it over. Can't turn it over. We can live for another down. And he did a good job of finding those safeties, and when they rocked a rock came down or rocked over the top, there's little windows, and man, he's throwing it in the window.
He sure was.
And the good thing is he was anticipating that. And the receivers, he's throwing the ball a lot of times before they break, but the receivers knew they had to get there, and our receivers caught the ball, and thought the offensive line played well all game. I thought they protected. I thought the run game was pretty good. Jay Allen, I thought that was one of his most physical games running. Like he was breaking tackles, and we played well. First half, second half, like I said, that we got behind the chain, and I do need to go back to that. That's not an excuse. I should have had them ready and fixed. So that's my fault. But I thought offense gave us a chance, especially in the first half. Now the second half, a little different story.
Well, it was a ugly second half, good first half for us there. Nevertheless, it doesn't matter if you lose by 1, lose by 40. It's just the way it is, and that throws us into 4th place. And we're going to take a look at this 4th place. As a 4th place seed, our game coming up this Friday will be on the road to Johnson City Science Hill, the Hilltoppers. And we'll return in just a minute here on Talk 101.3 The Buzz with our game supplied to you by Wholesale Supply Group and our Coaches Show brought to you by Ownbey Appliance. Back in a minute. Welcome back to our Coaches Show here with Coach Damon Floyd on Talk 101.3 The Buzz, where our Coaches Show is brought to you by Ownbey Appliance on Durkee Road. Coach, Science Hill is not a stranger to us. We hadn't played them in a while. The last time we played them was in a playoff game. I think it was 2018. We had that I think it was the last second field goal that scored to beat us on that game. And
they actually threw a Hail Mary, and we had a safety that, we teach them just knock it down. He actually tipped the ball, knocked it down, and they dove and caught it.
Yeah.
And then they kicked. They caught it on the 3-yard line and kicked a field goal with no time left to beat us.
Oh man, I remember that was a heartbreaking loss there, and we'd scored to take the lead, and then the kickoff, and then that happens with a Hail Mary, and then it's just one of those things. Last week they upset DB. I guess you called it upset. DB was unbeaten in the region. Science Hill was unbeaten in the region. Science Hill and we've played Maryland. They've played Maryland. It's almost identical scores. To what the outcome was for both of those games there. We're 7-3, they're 6-4. I was looking at some stats. We're averaging 26 points a game, they're averaging 25. We give up 19.5 a game, they give up 21. On paper, we're very closely matched. We're 7-3, they're 6-4. That means nothing when you get down playing the game. On paper, you can look at it and talk about it all day long, but what do you see when you look at film of Science Hill? What do they do? Coach Stacy Carter's been there for a long, long time, and we know him well. They were in the Super 32 with us, and we're not, that Super 32 is our region then. But What do you see offensively? What do they like to do, or what do they try to do?
Very multiple. The first thing that sticks out in your mind is they're very athletic. They have good size. You know, they got 2,500 kids in their schools, so they got a lot to choose from.
They sure do.
But there's not really any weak spots. I mean, they have skill guys for sure. They can take it to the house. I don't know the guy's name, but number 5, he may be the fastest, quickest kid we've ever seen. And I'm telling you, this guy can move. And so we got to know where he's at. He plays receiver, he plays running back, he plays quarterback. So we got to know where 5 is. And then knowing where he is one thing. Trying to tackle him is a different story. So they're very multiple. They got a lot of different formations. They're going to make you align correctly, just like Maryville and Farragut, those teams we play. Beard, and they will move around a lot. So we got to make sure we communicate and line up correctly. And then they run some option at you, so you got to be very, very good on your assignment. You can't just watch the ball in the backfield. You got to look at your keys, and you got to be in the right spot, which now means you got to make some one-on-one tackles. Obviously, every week you want a gang tackle, but there's going to be a lot of one-on-one situations, and if they win more of those than we do, then they're going to score. Defensively, they're very multiple. Same thing. They're very fast. They got 3 big guys up front, so they're an odd front, and then they'll blitz from anywhere. They like to play some man coverage, and they'll give you a variety of looks there. So we've got to recognize and then get us in the right play to have success there. Kicking game, I think we're probably pretty even on the kicking game. But overall, they're the number 1 team in their region. Mm-hmm. Some of those losses you mentioned are to some tough teams.
Yep.
So I think. Powell won the state championship last year.
Yeah,
obviously,
sure.
one of them was to Maryville. I want to say Anderson County.
Unbeaten.
Yeah, and then I can't think of the other one offhand, but I think it was another quality team that may have played for a state championship. But anyway, they're a good opponent. Yeah. And every year, we've matched up with them in the playoffs for years now, and the last week of the year, it seems in that region, it's kind of crazy where people end up. So everybody thought if we lost, we'd play Dobbins Bennett, and of course now we're playing Science Hill. So look, we're just happy to be playing, and we'll play anywhere, anytime, no matter who the opponent is in the playoffs, and we're going to go give it all we got.
Is their size comparable to Maryville? Maryville's a huge team size-wise. Are they that big? Or
not quite as tall. Maryville has some linemen that are 6'6", and these guys may be 6'3", but they're still 315. I mean, you don't look on there on film and go, well, that guy's little, we can take advantage of him.
Yeah.
They're just they're a 6A football team that's number 1 in their region, and their quality.
You talk about their offense now, the multiple there. Do they prefer to run the ball? Do they like to pass or just mix it up? Or
they're going to run the ball
try
first.
To run it first.
Now, the shots they take in the passing game are usually deep, because you're getting those guys creeped up the line of scrimmage, and they got the speed to get over the top. So we cannot give up the vertical routes, and a lot of wheel routes, things like that. But we got to stop the run first. So we got to commit a lot of guys to the box, and it's just got to be sound football. Like I said, we got to win some one-on-one matchups. It's
a long drive, 2.5, 3 hours to get there. What are your travel plans going to be for Friday?
Yeah, we're going to get out early. We're going to go to Carson Newman and do a walkthrough, and then we're going to go eat, and then we're going to try to divide the trip up, and then get on the bus for another hour and get up there about 4:30, and then start our pregame meetings and that kind of thing.
Well, it's going to be a tough game, but it's playoff time. Expected to be tough. There's no weaklings when it comes to playoff time.
It's exciting time. It's exciting time.
Yeah, you can't get fired up over that. It's hard to get fired up. Some team, starting Friday night, some team is going to win their next 5 games in a row. Another half season is what it amounts to. Mm-hmm. It will be crowned state champions in all the different classifications. We hope the Bears are in the mix there. We'll find out Friday night. We play. It's a 7 o'clock kickoff statewide. Every playoff game is 7 o'clock. We'll be there on Talk 101.3 at 4:30 with a pregame, or 5:30, with the pregame program. And we'll have kickoff there at 7 o'clock. So join us then on Talk 101.3. Thanks to Coach Floyd for always weekly interviews. Thanks to Ownbey Appliance for providing the coverage of these interviews here on Talk 101.3. Until next time, God bless and go Bears.